Hi everybody, it's me, Gemma, and I'm back. Still looking like a Carol Baskin knockoff. Hello, pleased to see you. This is a video about cookbooks. Now, I have done a couple of cookbook videos this year, but I really wanted to talk about the ones that have inspired me the most, that I have cooked from the most, that have made me want to get up and get in the kitchen and just cook. So I've got a few here varying different cuisines and things like that, but these are the ones that I think have been the best this year so far. So at the very beginning of the year, I got this, the Turkish Cookbook by Musa Dagçeveren, and this is one of the fading editions. I love the fading editions of cookbooks. They are always gorgeous. The photography is always stunning, and they are generally pretty comprehensive books about the cuisine. They're not so much aimed about a specific restaurant or anything like that, but the author of this book does have an episode on Chef's Table if you want to see that. I can't remember which edition it's in, but it's really great and you should watch it. And it's just, it covers things that are more, you know, restaurant level cooking, and then also things like bread and chickpea stew, things that people eat every single day, and that if you grew up in Turkey, you would just know how to cook. And that is what I love about the fading editions so much. I've not had a single one that I don't think is great. And I think if you're really interested in a specific cuisine, then you should go ahead and get one of them. For Christmas, I got an Amazon voucher, and I do have the Thai fading edition coming. I also have, I think I've got Mexico and Cuba and Spain and Italy as well. The Silver Spoon, which is like the sort of Italian cookbook, is published in English by Faden as well. So as you can see, I also enjoy putting little tabs in. I've not put too many in this one, but things that I have tabbed from this one include, let me see, hummus. As you can see, I was getting adventurous there. And like buttery patties, just loads of stuff. I just love it. I mean, the retail price is £35, so it better be worth it. But I don't think I usually pay that much because I usually get them from Amazon. No, I shouldn't. But if I get vouchers from Amazon, the chances are that I will buy a fading edition. So then this year really for me has also been the year of regional Asian cooking, and that started off for me in the beginning of the year. I was watching quite a few YouTube channels who were doing a lot of Chinese cooking, and it really inspired me to try different foods that I don't normally get a chance to try. I think I had this notion in my head that there was a lot more fish involved than there actually is. Not that there isn't a lot of fish involved, especially in like Japanese cooking and like Thai and stuff, but there's also a lot of veggie and meat stuff that I really like, and I really love the flavours. So I picked up The Food of Szechuan by Fuchsia Dunlop, and this was recommended to me by Andong, who has his channel on YouTube. And I've also made quite a few things from this. I've made the dan dan noodles, I've made dumplings, fragrant eggplant dish from this. And really, it's just really good to get to know the flavours. You don't always need to be following a recipe precisely, but I think between that and there's a channel called Demystifying Chinese Cooking, and like I was doing stir frying all wrong, so wrong. And yeah, I love this book, and it's really gotten me into different flavours, like that fragrant red bean paste and like chili oils and tofu and stuff that I just never really touched before. So this is really good. I also have Every Grain of Rice as well, which is more of a general Chinese cookery book, but I really liked this one because it really appealed, like soup noodles with shredded pork and pickled greens, Szechuan soup noodles, all that kind of stuff. Yebin kindling noodles, I love all that stuff. And I love what I've really learned as well is how much of a big difference all the different like little toppings make. So every week now I tend to like deep fry shallots, and if I'm making something plain with like rice or noodles, I'll have like fried garlic and shallots and like sesame seeds and everything on it, and it totally brings it up to just another different level. So yeah, another book from Asia. I've not cooked anything from this yet. This is my most recent book to come into the collection, aside from the other Fade and Thai one that's coming in the next couple of days. I have been watching a lot of Thai television. It's just one of those things where you just become obsessed with something and you're like, I'm watching these characters eat this food and I want to eat that food too, and I'm going to learn how to eat that food. So just live with it. So I really think this is a great book. It's not one of the Fade editions, but it is a really comprehensive book. So this one is by David Thompson. In fact, I believe David Thompson has a Thai restaurant in London. Yeah. So he has a Thai restaurant in London, and in fact, another episode of Chef's Table that I was watching about the Thai chef whose name is escaping me, she actually went to London to work in David Thompson's restaurant because he was cooking a lot of like old-fashioned Thai stuff, which she was kind of getting to know as well. So this is going to be, over the next couple of months, something that I'm probably cooking a lot from, and I'm looking forward to sort of learning a bit more about how to balance those different flavours. Plus I just think the fluorescent pink cover is very cool. Now this one was a Christmas present and it was from my husband, and it is The Food of Taiwan by Kathy Airway, recipes from the beautiful island. Again, the regionality of different cuisines in Asia has been really interesting me. I mean, leaving out India, because India is a whole thing in itself in terms of regional variation. So is China, mind you, but that's why I picked one specific area of China more to read about. And this one is a lot more geared towards ingredients that you can get more easily in British supermarkets, like fried chicken bites, yan suji. I've been making a version of this from a YouTube video for quite a while, which is, I think the YouTube version is the one I'll stick with. But if you're going to fry anything, can I recommend sweet potato starch as your breading rather than normal flour, because it stays so crispy even when, you know, you're cooking it like a large batch or something. You know, sometimes with flour it can go soggy, claggy, don't like it. But the sweet potato starch, that stays crispy. So I recommend that. And also I'm looking forward to trying some of the different desserts. Not so much the stinky tofu. I don't like stinky tofu. Normal tofu, yes. Stinky tofu, no. But like the mango and sweet rice and things like that. So I'm not had a chance really to play about with this one as much, but I'm looking forward to it. You can tell I could talk about cookbooks forever because I've already been talking for 9 minutes. Great. Now this one is Mexican. Sorry, Mexican, Cajun, Creole and soul food. And this was actually written by a couple who own a shop in Glasgow and Edinburgh called Lupe Pinto's Deli. And this is actually a self-published book. You can buy it on their website. I have used this book so much that pages fall out of it when I go to like cook from it. I've cooked the cornbread, I've cooked the tamale pie, I've cooked the tamales, I've cooked the jambalaya, the Yucatan style chicken, chicken pie, fried chicken, stuffed cheese, meatballs and chipotle sauce, potato cakes, loads. I've cooked so much out of this, and this was like £10. That's not really a lot at all. And I've gotten so much out of this cookbook over the years. Like, I don't use the recipe for tamales anymore because I just make them now. Like, but the original filling and recipe and everything that I got was from here. So if you've eaten tamales made by me, the recipe comes from here. And if you're in Scotland and you're looking for like Mexican and American ingredients, I highly recommend the Lupe Pinto's Deli. They also get in like fresh padrons, cooking chorizo, morcilla, loads of different stuff that you would enjoy. And lots of tins of stuff as well, like tins of salsa and all the different kind of all the different kind of seasonings and chilies. I recommend Lupe Pinto's. I am a fan. Now, this one's a bit different. This is the Medieval Cookbook by Maggie Black, and this one's actually published, I think, by the British Museum. And I've been watching a lot of a channel called Taste and History and another one called Townsend and Sons, and they both do historical cooking and like mixed with history and stuff like that, which I love. And I just really wanted to try some stuff for myself, and this one seemed like it had things that were accessible to me but were also, you know, medieval. And I also did buy a copy of The Form of Curry as well, which is like the oldest cookbook in English, but to be honest, sometimes reading it makes my head pound, so I picked this up and thought, oh, maybe some of these recipes I believe are like adapted from The Form of Curry, so try them. And now I was listening to the Milk Street podcast, as you do, and they described Manchi as the Korean Julia Child, which I think is a fairly apt description. She has a YouTube channel as well, and you don't need to buy her book because like everything is on the YouTube channel, but I really wanted to get it and support her as well, because I don't really like taking electronics to cook from in the kitchen, because my hands get covered in like sauce or flour or whatever, and I don't really want my electronics getting covered in sauce or flour. So I like to also have the book. And I've cooked a couple of different things from here, but she's also got the really good recipe for like bibimbap and for like the jjajangmyeon. You'll correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but this was really good. I've cooked quite a few things from it, and again, a lot of things about a particular style of cooking is sometimes about how it's served and how it's eaten and how the menus are put together and stuff like that. And I think you really get a lot of information on that from someone like her who's writing, and luckily in English so I can understand. So now these are all a tiny bit older, but I've used them a lot during lockdown. And the first one is the Noma Guide to Fermentation, Foundations of Flavour by Renee Redzepi and David Zilber. And it's just really what it says in the tin. It's all about different fermented foods, you know, and fermentation as a process of slow decay. I've got a sourdough going in the kitchen. I've made kombucha this year. I've made vinegar, loads of different things. And this is a really, really great place to start. It's also got more sort of out there things. It's got like some Japanese ferments and pickles and stuff like that as well that I'm still a bit nervous to try. If I'm completely honest, I am not really feeling the shoyu or koji as yet. I think that's far down the line when I'm feeling a bit more confident, but I really think it's a great book. And Renee Redzepi has really brought a lot of these pickled and fermented flavours into the sort of more modern food culture, which I do appreciate. And yeah, I really like it. It's a really good, it's not a chefy book in that sense. I mean, obviously it is a bit, but it's very accessible for the home cook, and you don't need a lot of different like equipment and stuff like that to start. Like literally, I make sauerkraut with like a jar and some weights, and that's it. I've got a mandolin for cutting the sauerkraut. I've got a big jar for keeping it in, and 2 weights to keep it submerged. That's it. And I love sauerkraut now, and I also love kimchi as well. I love it. I never used to like pickled things, and now I'm like, pass me the pickle. Except American dill pickles, those are still disgusting. Fight me. And then we have the Nordic Baking Book, and this is by Magnus Nielsen. I love Magnus Nielsen. I've watched his episode of Chef's Table so many times. And I also have the Favakin Cookbook, but this to me is far more useful. Favakin is much more of a sort of food philosophy and stuff, and there's not a lot of things in the Favakin book that you would be cooking in the house. I'll put it that way. But this one is really just, it's a great baking book. There's not anything in here that I don't think is accessible. I mean, there's some of the different flours and stuff that you might struggle to get, I think, outside of like Amazon. And I don't really know if I'm going to be cooking the bread baked with blood anytime soon, but I've cooked like the wheat loaf and some of the almond cookies and stuff like that, and I just really enjoy it as well for, again, the techniques that are in here. And last but not least, bread. Bread Matters by Andrew Whitley, The State of Modern Bread and a Definitive Guide to Baking Your Own. This, for me, has guided me through the sourdough starting and cooking process many a time. I've had this book for years and years, like a long time, and I've cooked bread from it a lot. So if you are looking for like a book specifically about bread, specifically about sourdough as well, then I think this is a really good starter. And it also that was a bread joke. And it also gives a good history of bread, how bread is involved in different processes, and about the modern processes used in baking bread at the moment. So yeah, those are all the cookbooks I have loved this year. I know I go through phases like anyone else does. I've been interested in different cuisines and things like that, but I will always come back to these ones because I think it really proves a book is good when something from it enters into my general rotation of food, like something that I cook like every week or every couple of weeks. And that is the case with, I would say, most of these, because I eat like the Chinese noodles all the time from Fisher Dunlop. I've made the pide from the Turkish books several times. I eat sauerkraut all the time from the fermentation book. The list goes on. And of course, bread. So yeah, that's 2020's most useful and best cookbooks in my opinion. And hopefully the new year will bring even more, and we won't have any flour shortages this year either, because people won't buy it all up and be seeing us next Tuesday. Anyway, enjoy, take care, bye.